swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Counsel, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Creed. If you could make sure your microphone's close enough so that you can be heard when you speak. All right? Good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sir, if you can please tell the jury your name.
Robert Quincy Creed Jr.
All right. And where are you currently living?
in the Falkenberg Road County Jail.
All right. And how long have you been in the Falkenberg Road County Jail?
Like 36 months, I think.
36 months. Okay. And what were you charged with that you're in the jail for now?
Accessory after the fact.
All right. And did you in fact plead guilty to that charge?
Yes, sir.
All right. And is that charge related to this charge, to this case that we're talking about here today?
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you been sentenced on that yet?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Creed, what was your, how far did you go in school?
Like the 8th grade, sir.
All right. Can you read and write?
Not that good.
Not that good? All right. Now, do you know the defendant in this case, Ronny Walker?
Yes, sir.
How do you know him?
From childhood.
So you all kind of grew up together?
Yes, sir.
Did you all grow up in the same neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
What neighborhood was that?
Belma Height Estate. Belma Height.
Okay. And would you say you were friends growing up?
Yes, sir.
About how often did you see each other?
Like every day.
Every day? And did that continue as you grew older?
Yes, sir.
All right. And back in May of 2022, were you all still friends at that time?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, talking about May of 2022, I want to go back to that day, or the day this occurred, back on May the 5th, or May the 6th of 2022. Do you remember that day?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember this incident that we're about to talk about?
Yes, sir.
All right. Where were you living back then at that time?
I was like back and forth St. Pete with the girl I was staying with.
Okay, so you had a girlfriend back then?
Yes, sir.
And she lived in St. Pete?
Yes, sir.
And you would stay there sometimes?
Yes, sir.
And where would you stay when you were staying in Tampa?
At my brother's house.
And where did your brother live?
He lived in Jackson Heights Apartments.
All right. Now, on this particular night of May the 5th, the night before going into that morning, were you at your brother's apartment that day?
Yes, sir.
What were you doing there?
Sleep on the couch.
All right. What time was this? Do you remember?
No, sir.
And you were asleep on the couch there?
Yes, sir.
And did there come a time when you saw Ronny Walker?
Yes, sir.
When was that?
I guess the same day when I was asleep on the couch.
Okay. And what happened when you saw him?
When I woke up and seen him, I was all blue because he was standing over me.
Okay. And what did he say?
He told me like, let's ride.
Okay.
Like, he got some girl he wanted to put me down with. So I was feeling sick. So
I'm sorry, say the last part?
I was kind of feeling sick, but I still jumped in the car with him and his girl and her friend.
Okay. So let's go to that. So you're at your brother's apartment, and then Ronny Walker, you wake up, he's there, and he says, come with me, and he's trying to hook you up with a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you go get in the car, and who else in the car?
His girl.
A girl? His girl?
His girl.
Erica? What's her name,
Yeah.
Erica? Had you met her before?
Yes, sir.
All right. And who else was in the car? Was there anyone else?
I think her name is Jerica, I think.
Jerica?
Yeah.
Okay. And who was driving the car?
Ronny.
Was it that black car?
Yes, sir.
All right. And where did you guys go?
We like rolled around for a little bit,
Okay.
and then we went back to his girlfriend's house.
So you went to the house of Erica Sweet's house?
Yes.
All right. And what happened when you got back to Erica Sweet's house?
Just chilled out for a little bit, then I fell asleep on the couch.
And you fell asleep on the couch at Erica Sweet's house?
Yes, sir.
All right. What happened with the other girl? Do you know?
Not really.
All right. And after you fell asleep on the couch, did there come a time when you got woken up?
Yes, sir.
What happened?
Ronny had woke me up, told me to ride with him somewhere. Just told me to ride with him.
All right. Did you know where you were going to go?
No, sir.
So, but you weren't feeling well?
No, wasn't feeling well.
But you still went along with him?
Yes, sir.
Why is that?
Yeah, he had told me his girl to let me stay, like, pay her like $300, $400 to live there, cause I ain't really want to live at my brother's house, cause it's distant.
Okay.
So you know, I guess.
Kind of felt obligated, I
Yeah.
guess? All right. Did you, when he woke you up and asked you to go for a ride with him, was Erica anywhere there?
I guess I ain't see her, but I guess she had to be like in a room or something.
Okay. But you didn't see her. She wasn't awake, or at least around where you were.
No.
Okay. So it's just you and Ronny Walker.
Yeah.
All right. What happened next?
He got in his car and he had rode around a little bit.
And what were you all doing as you were riding around? Was he doing anything, saying anything?
No.
All right. And what happened next?
He rode up on a group of people and asked them where she went at.
So he rode up on a group of people and asked them where she went. Did you know who he was referring to?
No, sir.
All right. And what happened then?
Then he rode around.
All right.
He rode around like a couple more corners. Then he went in his parking lot.
Okay.
Then he picked up this girl.
All right. So rode around for a couple more corners, and then you said he rode into a parking lot and picked up a girl. Did you know this girl?
No, sir.
Where were you sitting in the car?
I was in the passenger side.
In the front?
Yes, sir.
And Ronny was driving?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a driver's license at that time?
No, sir.
All right. And so you pull up, and this girl gets in the car. You did not know who she was?
No, sir.
All right. And how does he get her in the car? What happened? What does he do?
He just rolled down the window and said, "Hey."
That's it? Eh?
Yes, sir.
And then what happened?
She turned around and looked and just walked in and jumped in the back seat of the driver's side.
Did it appear like she knew him or something?
Yes, sir.
All right. And when she goes and she gets in the, what part of the car did she get in?
She get in the driver's back seat.
Driver's back seat. Okay. And what happened then?
Then he rode to a store.
Okay, so he left that apartment or that parking lot and he rode to a store. She was in the back seat.
Yes, sir.
Were they saying anything to each other?
Not really, not that I can remember.
Okay. What happens when they get to the store?
He get out, he go in the store and buy them something to drink.
Okay. He didn't buy you anything to drink?
No, sir.
And so he goes in the store. Did he go by himself?
Yeah.
And you stayed in the car with the girl?
Yes, sir.
All right, what happened then?
I was trying to call my cousin, but my phone went dead.
Your phone was dead?
Yeah, if my phone had went dead.
Okay. So what happened then?
I had asked her could she call my cousin for me on her phone.
All right.
So I had gave her the number, she called, but my cousin didn't answer, pick up.
Okay.
So then I asked her to text, could she text him, tell him it's me. So she texted him, then she called back again, he still didn't pick up. So that was it.
Okay. So I'm assuming Ronny Walker comes back into the car
Yes, sir.
and gets back in the driver's seat?
Yes, sir.
What happens then?
He give her something to drink, whatever he bought, and then he pulled off.
And then it's pulled off. And where did you go from there, do you know?
He went to some dark street.
All right. Are you familiar with that area?
I think it's Temple Height.
Okay. Had you been on that street that he pulled into?
No,
All right. And you said you called it dark. There wasn't a lot of light out there?
no, sir.
All right. So after he pulls into that street, what happens?
Yeah, I asked her a question.
What did he ask her?
Was she having sex?
Was she having sex? Is that what he said?
Yes, sir.
What happened at that point?
She told him no.
And then what happened?
He got mad and went to screaming and yelling, talking about, get out of this car, get out my car, get out my car.
Okay. And you were still seated on the passenger seat?
Yes, sir.
Were you paying attention to all of that?
No, not really.
So what happened after saying get out of the car? Were you just did you watching what was going on, or what were you
No,
doing?
I was like kind of like slumped over because I wasn't feeling good.
Okay. You were slumped over because you weren't feeling good, so you weren't really looking?
Not slumped, just like leaning to the side.
Okay. And what happened?
I heard a gunshot.
Okay. And what happened when you heard that gunshot?
I jumped. When I jumped, I looked. I seen her holding I looked in the bike seat. I seen her holding like a chest, like.
And she's like this, kind of with both hands, for the record reflect, you said, kind of putting both hands over his
Yes,
chest.
sir.
Okay, and then what happened?
He kept telling her to get out of my car, so she got out the driver's side, the passenger, the bike seat driver's side.
She got out on her own?
Yes, sir.
Did you see the gun in Ronnie's
Yes,
hand
sir.
at that point?
Yes, sir.
What type of gun was it?
It was like a chrome 9mm or something.
So it's chrome or silver or something bright, kind of bright?
Yes, sir.
After she gets out of the car, what happens?
He get out.
He got out too?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever get out?
No, sir.
After he get out, what happens?
I heard 2 more gunshots.
Just two?
Yes, sir.
And did you see her get shot?
No, I didn't physically see it, but I know he did it.
Because you could hear the gunshots?
Yes, sir.
Had she left her door open?
Probably so.
Okay. And so you hear those 2 gunshots. You don't see the shooting,
No.
but you hear them.
Yes, sir.
And then what happens?
He jumped back in the car and pulled off,
Okay. When he jumped back in the car, did he say anything to you?
telling me, don't say nothing, don't tell nobody, don't tell nobody. Or you're going to kill me too.
And he told you that?
Yes, sir.
So he was threatening you at that point?
Yes, sir.
Were you scared?
Yes, sir.
All right. And what happened at that point?
He went back to, first he went to a gas station.
So y'all drove around and went to a gas station?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember what the gas station was or anything?
I don't remember.
All right. I'm going to show you what's marked as states E1. Do you see that person?
Yes, sir.
Who is that?
That's Ronny.
Was that what he was wearing that night?
Yes, sir.
That jacket
Yes, sir.
and the shoes?
Yes, sir.
Is that the gas station that you all went to?
Yes, sir.
And E4, is that him?
Yes, sir.
Is that same night?
Yes, sir.
Was this soon after you all, or soon after he had shot Nilexia Alexander?
Yes, sir.
And is that you?
Yes, sir.
Same gas station?
Yes, sir.
Same night?
Yes, sir.
Did and you got out of the passenger side?
Yes, sir.
Why didn't you run at that point?
I was scared.
What happened at that point?
We went by to his girlfriend's house.
In Erica Sweet's house?
Yes, sir.
And what happened when you got back there?
I was sitting on the couch. He kept walking back and forth to the window, pacing, looking out the window,
Does he saying anything?
saying, don't tell nobody what he did.
Okay. And you were just sitting there, and this was in Erica Sweet's house?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you see Erica at that point?
No, sir.
The next day, you're seeing, or I believe it's you, the next day, did you go to the Tampa General Hospital?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? If there's video showing you getting out of the passenger car the next day at the Tampa General Hospital, would you doubt that?
No, sir.
All right. Do you remember riding at some point with
Yes, sir.
Ronny Walker to Tampa General Hospital?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember why you were going there?
To pick his girlfriend up.
Okay. All right. When did you finally leave Ronny Walker? When did you finally separate?
When My girl finally answered the phone and came and got me from my brother's house.
Your girl answered the phone from your brother's house?
No, from my cell phone.
Oh, okay. And so who came and got you?
My girl.
Your girl came and got you?
Yes,
And
sir.
were you still at Erica Sweet's house at that time?
No, I had done left.
Where did you go?
I went back to my brother's house.
To your brother's house?
Yeah.
All right. And when your girlfriend came and got you, did you go back to St. Pete?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you tell anyone what happened?
No, sir,
Why not?
because I was scared.
Did there come a time when you talked to police?
Yes, sir.
When was that?
When
If you remember.
I had got a phone call from my cousin, and he said the police were looking for me.
All right. Were you still in St. Petersburg when that happened?
No, I was at my brother's house in the Jackson Heights Apartments.
Okay, you were at Jackson Heights apartment. Okay. And so you get notifications the police are looking for you. What do?
I called my nephew, and he came to pick me up and took me on to the police precinct.
Okay. And did you go there and meet with detectives?
Yes, sir.
Did you tell them the very first time that you met with them that you know what happened, knew what happened?
No, sir.
All right. But you went down there voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Why didn't you tell them when you first saw them what happened?
I was scared.
Okay, you were scared?
Yes, sir.
Did you talk to them again at a later time?
Yes, sir.
And on that second time that you talked to them, did you in fact at that time let them know that you did know about the case and that you did know Ronny Walker had killed her?
Yes, sir.
Had Ronny Walker already been arrested by that time?
I think so. Yes, sir.
After this happened, did you talk to Ronny Walker anytime about this case, about what happened?
When I was in jail, he used to write me little notes.
Okay. What did the notes say?
Said the police violated my rights, and don't tell what he did that night. He facing the death penalty.
And he would send you these notes in jail?
Yes, sir.
All right. Other than that, you have not communicated with him one-on-one, have you?
No, sir.
All right. Has he made any threats to you since then, other than those notes?
No, sir. Besides, like, the last time I seen him in court, he would threaten me.
What did he say to you?
Well, he would, like, go home and die.
Go home and die?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Creed, there are some phone calls that appear to take place within a short period of time between your phone and that of Nilexia Alexander. Did you make those calls?
No, sir.
Did you know Nilexia Alexander?
No, sir.
Do you have any idea how those phone numbers or phone calls might have taken place?
I heard through a friend that
Objection to hearsay.
Did you ever lend your phone out?
yes, sir.
Did you sometimes lend your phone out to a friend who had a young girl who knew Nilexia?
Yes, sir.
Did Ronny Walker borrow your phone sometimes?
Yes, sir.
Did you often just kind of let anyone use your phone, whoever needed to use your phone?
Yes, sir.
All right. And when you got in the car that night, did you know what Ronny Walker was planning to do?
No, sir.
Did you know that street that he turned down?
No, sir.
Did you know he had a gun with him?
No, sir.
Mr. Creed, did you kill Nilexia Alexander?
No, sir.
Did Ronny Walker kill Nilexia Alexander?
Yes, sir.
Judgment, if I may have a moment. A few more questions before I sit down. Do you know an individual by the name of Day Day?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, who is that?
His name David White.
David White? Okay. Do you know a Stanley Wilson?
No, sir.
Have you ever been convicted of a felony?
Yes, sir.
How many times?
21 times.
Did you drive at all that night?
No, sir.
Have you ever driven Ronny Walker's car?
No, sir.
You were afraid of him. Why are you telling the truth now? If you lied back then, why are you telling the truth now?
Because I didn't do anything.
And that cousin you asked Nilexia to call, who was that?
My cousin.
What's
my
his-
first cousin.
What's his name?
Robert Parker.
Robert Parker, okay. Had that weapon, do you know whatever happened to that weapon?
No, sir.
Did you ever see Ronny Walker get rid of that weapon?
No, sir.
Did you ever get rid of that weapon?
No, sir.
And again, you were at that Thornton's and you didn't run. Why is that?
I was scared.
All right. You knew Ronny Walker, knew where you lived, and knows your friends and family, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did Ronny Walker know you had a girlfriend in St. Petersburg?
Yes, sir.
So Ronny Walker knew a lot about your life and where you lived and where you went, right?
Yes, sir.
One moment, Judge.
Yes, sir.
And real quick, Day Day, the man you've just talked about, was he ever in the car with you all that night?
No, sir.
In fact, was anyone else in the car with you all that night other than you, Ronny Walker, and Nilexia Alexander?
No, sir.
Nobody else was?
Nobody else.
Okay. Did you all stop anywhere else along the way before Thornton's, before you went to that gas station?
This store on 22nd and Martin Luther King where he bought them something to drink.
Right, where you bought the drinks. But after,
No, sir.
okay, you all just drove around and went straight to Thornton's. Did you all ever go back to the house and then go out to Thornton's?
No, sir.
You continued to drive the whole time?
He went from where he did that murder to that gas station, from that gas station back to his girlfriend's house.
And you didn't stop anywhere else along the way?
No, sir.
All right, and you never saw him get rid of the gun?
No, sir.
And you never saw him,
Objection leading.
and you never saw him get rid of the gun, and did you ever see him get rid of anything else?
No, sir.
I'm going to ask you again, Mr. Creed, did you have anything to do with Nilexia Alexander being killed?
No, sir.
And it's your testimony today, you saw Ronny Walker shoot Nilexia Alexander.
Objection to leading.
Is that your testimony today? You saw him shoot her?
Yes, sir.
Nothing further, Judge.
Cross-examination?
Your Honor. Mr. Creed, good afternoon. Oh, sorry, Judge.
Counsel.
Good afternoon. You told Mr. Terry you've been convicted of 21 felonies, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And amongst those felonies is the charge of accessory after the fact.
Sustained.
All right, Mr. Creed, let me take it from the top. You've been convicted of 21 felonies, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You've pled guilty to accessory after the fact.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You are facing up to 30 years on that charge of accessory after the fact, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You've never been charged with murder in this case, right?
Yes, that's right.
The only charge you've ever been charged with is accessory after the fact.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You pled guilty to that accessory after the fact, but you have not been sentenced yet, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In fact, you are waiting to be sentenced to see how things go or until you complete your testimony in the case against Mr. Walker, correct?
I guess so, ma'am.
Okay. And you don't know what your sentence is going to be. Is that fair to say?
Yes, ma'am.
But certainly you're hoping you're going to get to go home when this is all done and over with.
Yes, ma'am.
As in, you don't go to prison, you don't do any more time, you go home.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to talk to you about some of the benefits that you've received in your cases as a result of being a witness here. Prior to pleading guilty and agreeing to testify against Mr. Walker, you had a bond in your case. Isn't that correct?
Ma'am?
You had a bond that you had to pay to get out of jail?
Yes, ma'am.
You were unable to afford to pay that bond, correct?
Correct.
After you pled guilty and you agreed with the state of Florida that you would give your testimony, you were released without having to pay a bond, correct?
I'm still in jail, ma'am.
Correct, and I'm gonna get there, but you don't have to pay a bond to get out, correct?
I thought they say I got to pay like a private ankle monitor.
And I'm gonna get there, I'm just talking about the bond right now. You would not have to pay any money for a bond to get out of jail right now, correct?
Correct.
The thing that's holding you in jail is that you would have to wear an ankle monitor when you get out of jail, correct?
Correct.
And you don't have an address where you can go to stay at in order to wear that ankle monitor, correct?
Correct.
And that is the thing that is holding you in jail, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So one of the benefits that you've received is after agreeing to testify, the prosecution agreed to erase that bond for you, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Another benefit you received is that you also had a case of battery second or subsequent a felony, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Approach. You may proceed.
Thank you. So Mr. Creed, you were facing that felony battery charge where you were looking at up to 5 years in prison in addition to this case, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But you did not get prison time. You got a time served sentence in that case, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I want to go through some of the details of what you've testified about here today. So I believe you said the early morning hours of May 6th, you wake up to Mr. Walker standing over you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't know how he got there, you don't know when he got there, he's just standing over you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and he tells you he wants to basically set you up with someone, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the person that he wants to set you up with, according to your story, is not Nilexia Alexander, the girl who died.
No, ma'am.
This is a friend of Erica Walker, his
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so you then get in the car with Mr. Walker. You say Erica Sweet is there and this other girl is there, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then I think your testimony was next thing that happens, you go back to Erica Sweet's apartment and you fall asleep.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your testimony today is that Mr. Walker then again wakes you up and tells you to get in the car with him to go for a ride.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're sick, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a stomach bug of some sort?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you like actively throwing up this entire time?
Not at that time, but I was sick.
Okay. And even though you're sick, you get into the car and you're just driving around with Mr. Walker. That's what your testimony is, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You then say that at some point, Mr. Walker pulls up to a group of people and just says, "Where's she at?" Right?
Yes, ma'am.
And from your account, these people automatically know who he's talking about.
I don't know.
Okay.
I just know he asked him that.
Okay. He then pulls into a parking lot, and that is where he comes across Miss Alexander, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And your testimony today is that Miss Alexander is someone that you've never seen before, correct?
Correct.
Never met her before, right?
That's right.
You had no idea who she was?
No, ma'am.
She then gets into the car, and no one is saying anything, right?
Right.
No one's talking, correct?
Correct.
No one's talking about where they're going or what they're doing, right?
No, ma'am.
You all are just driving?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And that's when you said Mr. Walker pulls up to a store. He gets out to get a couple of drinks, right?
That's right.
Okay. And your testimony is that your phone was not working at this time, correct?
Correct.
All right. And so, did I hear you correctly in saying that you asked Miss Alexander, the young girl that was shot and killed, you asked her to send a text message to your cousin?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you asked her to send or to make some phone calls to your cousin?
Yes, ma'am.
And your testimony is that she's doing all of that from her phone?
Yes, ma'am.
You then go, Mr. Walker gets back in the car, you go to this dead-end street, and that's where the shooting happens, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And I want to make sure I heard you correctly. Was it your testimony that you never actually saw the shots happen?
Yes, ma'am.
You just heard them happen?
Yes, ma'am.
You never saw Ronny Walker shoot Miss Alexander?
No, ma'am.
And so you're in that dead end, right? You're in the front passenger seat.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Walker, you're saying, is in that driver's seat, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And Miss Alexander is seated behind him on the rear driver's side of the car, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
When Mr. Walker shoots Miss Alexander, which hand is he holding the gun in?
I think it was his left hand.
Okay. And where was Mr. Walker when the first shot, when you heard that first shot, where's Mr. Walker?
In the driver's seat.
Okay, so he's still seated in that driver's seat, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Miss Alexander, she's seated in the back.
Yes, ma'am.
The windows in the car are all rolled up, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so it's your testimony that Mr. Walker, with his left hand, takes a gun, and let me kind of demonstrate for you, turns around and shoots Nilexia Alexander while she is sitting in the back seat of the car. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the windows are up, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You see Miss Alexander hold her chest,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And then Miss Alexander, after being shot in that back seat of the car, opens the car door, grabs her phone charger and her drink, and gets out of the car on her own volition, correct? By herself.
I know she got out the car.
She got out of the car. Mr. Walker doesn't help her get out of the car. She gets out on her own.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then is it your testimony then that Mr. Walker gets out of the car after that, and that's where you hear additional shots?
Yes, ma'am.
Did I get any of those details wrong?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Your testimony is that while you're in that dead end area of the car, you never get out of the car, correct?
Correct.
You hear one shot inside the car, and then you hear, was it 2 more shots when you get out, or when you say Mr. Walker gets out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And your testimony today is that after Mr. Walker gets back into the car, he makes some sort of a threat to you, like, don't tell anyone or I'm gonna kill you too, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And your testimony is that that is the reason why you then remain in the car with Mr. Walker throughout that morning, the rest of the morning of May 6th and into the following day of May 6th, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
At some point at the end of May, you started hearing about the shooting of Miss Alexander, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You heard about it from your cousin, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And your cousin's name, again, that's Robert Parker?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your brother who you were living with, his name is Arthur, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you also start to see at some point things in the news about the shooting?
Yes, ma'am.
When you hear from your cousin that the police had been by to talk to him, that's when you go to talk to the police, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to try and get a timeline as much as we can. This is sometime at the end of May. Does that sound about right?
I really don't remember.
Okay. Let me see if you remember this. The first time you go to talk to the police, Mr. Walker, he had not been arrested yet?
No, sir. No, ma'am.
You don't think? Okay. He had not been yet arrested. And did I hear you correctly when Mr. Terry asked you if you told the police that you knew about the murder the first time you spoke to them, your answer to him was no, you did not tell him that, correct?
Ma'am?
Your answer to Mr. Terry was that you were not honest with the police. You did not tell them about what you knew about, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Creed, do you recall giving a deposition in this case on May 5th, 2025, so just a couple of weeks ago at the jail?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you remember I was there and I asked you some questions?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Terry was there and your lawyer was there as well,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
Okay. And for counsel, I'm referring to page 24 of that deposition, starting at line 4, going through line 12. And this may be a little long-winded, but let me ask you this question. Do you recall being asked at the time, you went down to the police station, they asked you some questions, and you didn't tell them anything about what happened. Is that true? And you responded, yeah, I told them. Question, you told them what? Answer, I told them, you know, basically I said, everything y'all know, I know. Do your job. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But the truth is, actually, you didn't say that, right?
Ma'am?
You didn't tell the police that during that first interview, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You did tell them that?
Yeah, when I went down there and seen them myself, went to the police station myself.
You went to the police station, and is it your testimony now that you told them, hey, I know everything that you know, go do your job? Is that what you told them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now your testimony is a little bit different from what you said to Mr. Terry, so I want to be clear. Mr. Terry asked them if you told the police the truth, and you told him, no, you didn't tell them the truth, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I
Okay.
didn't.
But now you're saying, after I've asked you to recall your deposition that you gave, you're saying that you did tell the police that you knew about the murder. Is that your testimony now?
When I went to the police myself
Right, the first time.
and they asked me, I told them, y'all know everything that I know. Do your job.
So you told the police that they know everything that you know.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And in fact, you claim that you told them that repeatedly, that they knew everything that you knew, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
In reality, though, you never walked them through those details that you gave us here today, correct?
Correct.
That didn't come until the second interview that you had with them sometime in July. Am I right about that?
Yes, ma'am.
And at that second time, that second interview, Mr. Walker, he had already been arrested, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The second time that you were interviewed by law enforcement, at that point, you didn't go to them voluntarily. You were arrested, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you were arrested in Pinellas County?
Yes, ma'am.
And this was in July after Mr. Walker had already been arrested, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me ask you this question real quick. Were you arrested in Pinellas County at any time before that, in May or in June?
If I no, ma'am.
No, right? The only time you were ever arrested in Pinellas County would have been in July after Mr. Walker was arrested, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This interview that you gave to the police during that time, that went a little bit differently, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. During that interview in Pinellas County, the detective, Detective Whelan, the male detective, he started off by telling you that they had authorization to charge you for what they had previously talked to you about. Do you remember him saying that?
Not really, but I know they just talked the lady. He talked to some lady on the phone, and he told me I'm about to sit down.
Okay. So do you remember him telling you that they were going to charge you with some things? That's how the interview started.
No, ma'am. He just told me I'm gonna have to sit down for a little minute.
Okay. Do you remember the detective saying to you 19 seconds into that second interview in July, we got authorization of charges for you in reference to that? You don't remember the detective saying that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Shortly after that, do you remember the detective then telling you that Ronny Walker's lawyers were blaming you for the shooting of Miss Alexander?
Yes, ma'am.
And the detective went on to tell you that he had to get up on a witness stand and try to explain why he believed Ronny Walker was the shooter and not you. Do you remember him saying that?
No, ma'am.
You don't remember that? Do you remember the detective saying to you they needed to get answers? Do you remember him telling you that?
I think so, ma'am. I think so.
Okay. When he says that to you, your response to him was, all I know is what they put on TV. Isn't that what you told him to start off?
I probably did say that.
The detective then asked you to walk him through the night of May 6th and tell him, when did you get into the car with Ronny Walker? Do you remember him starting off the questioning about that?
I really don't even remember.
Okay. Well, let me ask you if you remember this. Do you remember telling the detective you had to have gotten into the car after the shooting because you don't know anything about a murder? You remember telling him that?
No, ma'am.
You don't remember that? If you listened to the recording or if you saw a transcript from the recording, would that help refresh your memory on any of these things?
Probably so, ma'am.
Okay. Judge, can we approach?
Do you have a copy of the transcript that you can show them first?
I can, do you want me to try doing that,
Yes.
Judge? Just based upon the witness's answers, I'm concerned if he's gonna have difficulty reading the transcript. I don't wanna run into that.
There's
under the
reading and
circumstances, we can read it.
You can't read it, obviously, we play it.
I'm happy to provide it, Judge. May I approach the witness, Judge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Creed, why don't you go ahead and see if you can read through this?
I can't read.
You can't read.
No,
So
sir.
you'd rather hear it on the video?
Yes, sir.
I think we will.
All right.
Can you hear it from there, or do you need?
I'll bring the computer closer to him so he can hear it.
Okay. State, if you need to get closer, you can use position to anyone else in the defense team.
Remember us? Any of this about? We got authorization of the charges for you in reference to that. But before we start, I want to kind of preface it with this, with last week, and I don't know if you saw the papers, Ronny Walker's lawyer in court is basically accusing you of being the shooter, okay? I had to stand on the stand and answer questions where they asked, could Quincy be the shooter in this case? She's asking that flat out in court, and she's blaming you for it, okay? Ronny's a lawyer. So, there's been a lot of meetings in this
He
with
could
the
have been
state attorney's
prepped
office,
beforehand.
with our chiefs.
I said he
You're
could have
all
been
involved,
prepped
okay?
beforehand. Someone could have played
It's
it
very
for him.
important right now, so we can take this back to the state attorneys and stuff,
Yeah,
that you need to be honest
that's
about
what
it.
I'm asking about. I'm
You're
asking,
not the shooter.
by the way, I'm asking
It's time to
quotes
come out and be
directly
yourself,
from
okay?
recording.
Because everything
And
else,
he's
man,
saying he doesn't
is,
remember?
you're tied up in this, the charges are signed, they're done.
No.
To kind of save yourself, you have to be truthful, okay? And that's all it is. You know, I know we met the first time. A lot of stuff has come back since then. You just gotta be truthful, okay, dude?
No, I can't be no shooter. I can't tell you. I can't down. I don't indulge in nothing. The only thing I indulge in is driving with suspended license.
Okay.
That's it. I don't hold that other stuff. I don't do nothing.
But, and I can tell you my heart of hearts, because obviously we looked at everybody's record involved in this. Ron's got a fucking violent history. Right? And there's some other stuff that you don't know about that gun and stuff that's involved in this stuff. You have some more.
Just let me ask the court and counsel this to see if it could help expedite things. If I jumped the specific portions of the interview that I plan to ask about, would that be okay? Or do we want him to listen to the entire interview?
I remember.
Is that okay with the court?
Well, yeah, I think you should, if you know where to go to refresh his
I
memory about.
I can't,
this.
yes.
I remember this, sir. I remember that.
You remember. Do you need to hear the rest of it?
No, ma'am.
No, okay, all right. Well, he's ready to go then.
And if it does come up again, if you know the specific part.
I have timestamps and everything, Judge.
Now we can find 16 people.
Judge, let's just play that in an abundance of caution, so there's not a situation where he doesn't remember.
Whatever you decide.
All right, let me
Ask
bring,
this question.
Yes.
How many specific things are you going to ask him? And,
let me see where I left off. Let's see.
and then maybe we can just go to those portions.
Sure. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. About 14 different spots, 15 different spots in the interview, Judge. But I have the timestamps, I can jump right to them.
That would be great.
Okay.
Great.
I'm gonna take my notes up here, Mr. Creed, just so that way we don't have to do this again. I know this was a couple of years ago. All right. All right, so let's start here.
yours. Because obviously we looked at everybody's record involved in this. Ronnie's got a fucking violent history. Alright, and there's some other stuff that you don't know about that gun and stuff that was involved in this, that we'd have some more intelligence on that. That I know we're going the right direction as far as who's responsible for it, but unfortunately you're sucked up in this, so you need to be honest about your side of it, okay? And that's the best thing you can do right now, because at the end of the day, we have a 14-year-old girl that's dead, and we need to get answers, and we need to make sure that the person that pulled that trigger is held responsible for it, okay? That's our main focus.
And y'all got a person.
I know. So we're gonna have to, because now the situation, we're gonna have to review your Miranda rights, okay? And then we're gonna just go over that night, just be honest, and I can tell you I'm gonna be here with you for the whole way. And
Alright, I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit.
if what I believe happened, what's going on?
All I know is what I see on TV and how they charge them, how they put my name in it. I know I don't do nothing like that on the doors and stuff like that. Only thing I do is drive, suspended license, and that's it.
Okay. But that night, you're in that car, the night of the murder. When did you get in the car?
They had to be after that, because that's it. Because I don't know.
Alright, so here's, and I'll tell you what I believe, okay? And if that's the truth, then let's go down that road, okay?
The minute I heard of it, I come to y'all.
Right,
That's just like if I was guilty, I'd be running,
right.
ducking the dogs in your hide. No way.
But here's the thing, we know where that car goes right after the murder, okay? And we know that you get out of the car right after the murder. So when do you get in the car? The car backs in, there's some, but here's the thing, we do that, Robles, in and out of Robles are on empty, okay? We pull the cameras from your apartment complex and have you guys hanging out in front of your brother's house prior to the murder.
Brother's house.
Or in Jackson Heights, whoever technically lives there, but Arthur lives at that house as well, where you kept your clothes, okay? So we pulled the video from there, so we know you're hanging out with them earlier in the night before this murder. The car backs in, there's a girl in the car backs in, you guys get out of the car, hang out there for a little bit, okay? What I'm telling you, man, this is what I'm telling you, this is the difference, okay? If you didn't pull the trigger, if you're just in that car when it happens, you're, oh shit, this wasn't supposed to happen, this wasn't supposed to go down like that, he's high as fuck, he's fucked up, and he pulled that trigger, and you're fucking there.
Man, that would happen, because I'm not no child killer. I wouldn't do that.
I know you're not, man. I know you're not, man.
That just ain't me.
I know it's not you. But you gotta be truthful about that, okay? You gotta say that's what happened, okay? You have to say,
That's what happened.
If you were there,
Okay.
this is your time to tell us what happened, okay? Because they're gonna point fingers at you, so if you were
They
there
are.
and you saw something, this is your time to tell us. Because unless you pull that trigger,
Everything y'all saying, that's what happened.
you tell us.
But you gotta say, okay, dude? That's the hard part, is you have to, for me to go call the state attorney and say, hey, Quincy's saying that he was in that car, Ronnie fucking was high on that shit, he pulled that girl out of the car and he shot her, you have to say that, dude. I
That's
can't,
what happened.
okay, then walk us through the night, then. You gotta be.
Start with Jackson Heights. As much as you can remember, you're at Jackson Heights and you're hanging out. What happened after that?
I didn't do it.
We know.
He did it. I didn't do it.
Well, just tell us like you would a story. So if you're in Jackson Heights, you guys leave Jackson Heights. Do you remember where you go after Jackson Heights?
We just went to a store.
Went to the store? Yeah, just tell us like a story. So you leave Jackson Heights, you go to the store.
Man, Ronnie killed that little girl. I wouldn't do nothing like that. Just how he said it, that's how it was.
But I can't put words in your mouth. What they're gonna say is when the state attorney, his defense attorney sees that, and finds this out, okay? Because they're 100 hand to God, and it's in the newspaper. They are blaming you for it. His defense attorney is standing up in court saying, could Quincy have killed her? Because the evidence is that you both are there. They are 100% pointing the finger at you. All right, dude? We knew that's what was going to happen from step one. That's when we first met. I told you guys to be truthful. I didn't want to put words in your mouth because we knew that was going to happen, and it's already happening. Day one in court, they are saying you killed the little girl. I know, buddy. I want to feel in my heart of heart. I think you don't have it in you.
Just looking at you, I can tell that you're upset about it.
It's as simple as this, dude. You just have to, what the evidence points to, just be honest.
Every said is the truth.
Alright, so let's start this. So you guys are hanging out in Jackson Heights. You said you went to a store. What
That's
store?
why they saying some ancestor like him, his girl, and the little girl supposed to have some DNA stuff. I don't know nothing about that.
Right.
Alright,
And some sick stuff.
Tell us your story, Quincy. That's what we need to know. What's your story?
My story is exactly what he said.
Can you tell us? So you leave Jackson Heights, right? You remember being in Jackson Heights. You guys leave there and you go to the store. Tell us what happened next. Just tell us like a story.
Just everything he said.
Well, we need you to tell us.
when did the girl get into the car?
And Jackson Heights. Everything, I was like, I was blue. I was scared.
I know you
Yeah.
are. Okay, so after you guys were with the girl, where did you go?
He went over by Robert's Park somewhere.
Okay,
And that's when that shit happened. I was scared.
what happened?
He killed that little girl
Where was she sitting in the car?
in the back seat,
Okay, where were you sitting in the car?
in the front seat.
Okay, then what happened?
And he pulled off
Okay, where did he pull over at?
over there by Robert's Park somewhere.
Okay, what did the street look like, brother?
It was a dark street.
Okay, have you been there before?
Those shit.
Alright, what's the street? Does the street go all the way through? Is the street dead end? I know how young she was.
Are you doing okay right now?
It's right by that little girl. But you have that knowledge. Now that we're being honest, and you have nothing else in this case to tell me, any statement or anything else you think you should add.
I told you everything.
Okay. Here's what the plan was. You're being charged with accessory from that first statement you gave us because you knew that the murder happened, and we could prove that you were there and everything like that, and you didn't tell us that. All right, and you're hiding the fact that you were there, and you had that knowledge that you just told us today. By not giving us that, you're covering up for Ronny, okay?
I never did cover up. I just,
But you have that knowledge. You know what I mean? So that's why it's not a full murder charge, okay? But here's what was going to happen. All right, if you came in here today and you weren't honest and you lied to us, we are going to go to grand jury and we are going to present a murder charge against you to grand jury. And I've already presented, for Ronny. That's why he's indicted, okay? That was the plan. We were charging you for this to give you an opportunity to see what you did. If you were truthful like you are now, there we're going to work with you, okay? If you lied, we were going to seek an indictment for murder. And that's 100% the truth. I know you feel that, don't you?
That should be it, Judge.
That's it?
That's it.
Does that refresh his memory?
Does that refresh your memory?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Very good. So, you all set?
I'm all set, Judge.
You can bring him back in.
Thank you.
This counteracts the 5 minutes that took 25. So we tell him 40, we bring him back in 10.
There we
Really
go.
good.
We're ahead of the game.
Jury's back. Y'all may have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So we'll follow the court's instructions, no issues, no media, no looking at anything else. Very good, thank you. We'll continue.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Mr. Creed, during that break, have you now had a chance to listen to some of those portions of your interview to help refresh your recollection?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. I think where one of the places we left off, where I asked you if you recalled during that interview, the detective tells you that they need to get answers because a young girl had died. They need to get answers. Do you now remember the detective telling you that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you now remember that in response to that, what you first told the detective is the only thing you know is whatever they put on TV?
Yes, ma'am.
During that interview, when you were asked, when did you get into the car? Your first response to them was, it had to be after the murder because you didn't know anything about the murder. Do you remember hearing that now?
Yes, ma'am.
And then there's a portion during that interview where Detective Wieland says to you, well, let me tell you what I believe. Do you remember him saying that?
Yes, ma'am.
And then do you remember him saying to you, if you're in the car with Ronnie and he just shoots and kills her and it wasn't supposed to go that way and you're freaking out, just tell us that. Do you remember hearing that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then after the detective tells you that, your response to him is, that's what happened. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The detective then says to you, you've got to be truthful. You got to say that's what happened. And your response to him was, everything y'all are saying, that's what happened. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And I can go on, but let me just maybe briefen this up a bit. The detectives then ask you, give them the story, tell them what happened, and your response to them over and over and over is, everything you all are saying, that's what happened. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
They then give you some more details, talking about starting at Jackson Heights, going to the store, and then you say, yeah, we started at Jackson Heights, then we went to the store, then we went to the dead end. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
There was a female detective that was sitting in on that interview as well, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you remember her name, but Detective Nicole Sackrider. And she says to you, tell us your story, Quincy. And you said, everything he said, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you said that, you're talking about the Detective Wieland, the male detective that was there.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me cut to the end. One of the last things that is said to you before that interview ends is that if things hadn't gone the way they went, where you told the detectives what you told them, that they were going to seek a murder charge against you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And ever since then, ever since that interview, it has been your testimony that Ronny Walker is the one responsible for shooting Nilexia Alexander, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Since that time, you have given a couple of different sworn statements, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
One of those sworn statements was a statement directly to State Attorney John Terry, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were sworn to tell the truth during that statement, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Another one of those statements I think we've already talked about was your deposition that occurred a couple of weeks ago at the jail, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And during that deposition, you were also sworn to tell the truth, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Creed, I'm showing you State's Exhibit 30C as in cat. I'll zoom in a little bit. This is a text message, and the contents of the message say, "Cuz, it's me, Q." Q is a nickname that you have, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You go by that name, your family knows you by that name, right?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a text message that you sent, correct?
I didn't send it, but
didn't send it.
I asked her, the little girl, to send.
And when you're saying that, you're talking about the young girl that died, Nilexia.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so this is a message that was sent from Nilexia Alexander through her phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain to us, Mr. Creed, then, why it is that this message was actually sent from Erica Sweet's phone, 305-910-9779?
I
Can you
don't know.
explain that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Your testimony was that all of the phone calls that were made to your cousin were made from Nilexia Alexander, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And they were made from her phone, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Showing you State's Exhibit 30D as in dog. Hoping you can help explain a couple of things here, Mr. Creed. One, can you explain to us why all of these phone calls to your cousin made on May 6th going into May 7th were made from Erica Sweet's phone? Can you explain that?
So, like,
I'm sorry?
they were from my phone?
These calls were made from Erica Sweet's phone to your cousin. Can you explain how that happened?
Oh, ma'am.
Okay. Can you explain to us, Mr. Creed, if Nilexia Alexander is the one that is making these calls on your behalf, how is it that these phone calls are being made on May 6, 2022, at times after we know she is dead? Can you explain that?
Was they from my phone or from whose phone they were from?
These are phone calls made from Erica Sweet's phone to your cousin. You have an explanation for that?
No, ma'am.
No.
Because I couldn't have did it. So they were from Erica Sweet phone.
You have an explanation as to how your cousin's being repeatedly called from Erica Sweet's phone after Nilexia is dead?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and show you State's Exhibit 30A. And these are phone records from your phone. So we're at the point now where we're talking about your phone. And I'm going to zoom in to that top couple of rows right there. That 813-447-6234 number, that is Nilexia Alexander's phone number. Your explanation for how your phone is in communication with Nilexia Alexander's phone. Give me that explanation.
I told the detective that I found out through the jail that I got a friend, female friend, that was Nilexia friend. And
So somehow there's a coincidence that a person that you know, and how old are you, Mr. Creed?
I'm 48 right now.
48 years old, okay. A person that you know happens to know 14-year-old Nilexia Alexander. And by coincidence, that person got a hold of your phone and contacted Nilexia Alexander multiple times through the end of April of 2022. Is that your explanation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll just go ahead and call your attention to the very last line here. To a phone call made on May 1st, 2022 at 2:51:42 a.m. to Nilexia Alexander. Is it your testimony that somehow this coincidental friend in common that you have with Nilexia Alexander gets a hold of your phone at almost 3 o'clock in the morning and they're communicating? Is that your explanation?
Yes, ma'am.
I think I also heard you say that there were times when Ronny Walker would use your phone, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, we talked about the two statements that you gave to law enforcement before or when you get arrested, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you also gave that proffer, that statement to Mr. Terry, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You also gave that deposition to me a couple of weeks ago, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you agree with me that not one single time in any one of those statements have you ever said Ronny Walker would use your phone? You've never said that.
Because y'all never did ask me that.
Okay. And that wasn't information that you thought that the detectives might need to know?
I didn't know, ma'am.
That wasn't information that you thought Mr. Terry would need to know?
I never did got ice, so it wasn't.
You didn't think that was information that you should give him?
At the time, I didn't know, ma'am.
And that wasn't information that you thought was important to bring up in your deposition with me, correct?
Judge asked and answered.
That wasn't any information that you thought was important to bring up to me, correct?
You didn't never ask me, ma'am. I didn't know to tell you that.
I got it. So for the first time that you ever said that Ronny Walker used your phone, first time you've ever said that to anybody here, was today when Mr. Terry went to go talk to you privately right before your testimony. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Creed, I don't have any other questions for you. Thank you.
Be ready.
Mr. Creed, when I spoke with you a little while ago, I asked you, did anyone else use your phone? Did Ronny Walker ever use your phone? That was the first time you were ever asked that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You didn't volunteer that to me either, did you?
No, sir.
I was the one who was like, hey, has anyone else ever used your phone? Has Ronny Walker ever used your phone? And that's when you told me yes, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So had someone asked you that before, would you have said, given the same answer?
Yes, sir.
Now, that individual that we talked about, Day, you know, right?
Yes, sir.
And you indicated he was not in the car with you all that night.
No, sir.
What about the next day when you all went to the hospital? Was he in the car with you all that day?
No, sir.
Object outside the scope of cross-examination.
What were you?
Was he with you all the next day when you all went to Tampa General Hospital?
No, sir.
Now, Mr. Creed, did you at any time ever did you ever know that the victim's phone was still in the car after
No,
she was
sir.
shot? Did you at any time ever get rid of that phone?
No, sir.
Did you at any time ever clean that car out at all?
No, sir.
Did you at any time ever clean the rugs, clean the seats, anything like that?
No, sir.
Did you at any time ever remove any casings that might have been in the car?
No, sir.
Did you even see any casings in the car?
No, sir.
And Mr. Creed, you understand that the reason you're facing these 30 years is that you lied for Ronny Walker. You understand that, right?
Yes, sir.
And you know you can get up to 30 years. There's been no agreement about what you're going to get, right?
Objection, leading.
Has there been any agreement about what you're going to get?
No, sir.
You could get the full 30 years.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Dunker asked you about this battery second or subsequent. That's basically a second misdemeanor that becomes a felony. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And it was pled to time served. Did you ever talk to me about that, or was there any sort of agreement between us about what you would get on that case?
No, sir.
In fact, wasn't the victim in that case uncooperative and didn't want to even prosecute?
I really don't know, sir.
You don't remember? And so you don't know what happened in that case, but you know it was no agreement with me, correct?
Correct.
And at the time, that basically misdemeanor battery that's now felony because it's a second one, at the time, that was holding you in jail. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you pled to time served, that was almost a year, basically, that you had served for that.
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Dunker spent a long time talking about all the questions that Detective Whelan was trying to get you to talk about. You were reluctant to talk, weren't you?
Yes, sir.
You didn't want to talk about what happened because, as you've indicated earlier, you were scared. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
Why didn't you want to give volunteer information?
Because I was scared he was going to do something to me when he found out.
Okay. But you ultimately did tell Detective Whelan what you've told us here today.
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
Did you ultimately tell Detective Whelan what you told us here today?
Yes, sir.
Did you tell him that just because he told you to tell us that?
No, sir.
Did you tell us what you told us because it's what he said, or is it because what really happened?
It's because that would really happen.
And when Detective Whelan was telling you that this is what happened, it was what happened. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did you at the time after this occurred, did you want to get a hold of your cousin?
Yes, sir.
Did you kind of want to get away from the situation that you were in?
Yes, sir.
Were you trying to reach your cousin?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall if you used the phone that was in the car, Erica Sweet's phone, to call your cousin?
No, sir.
You don't recall if you did or not?
Not physically.
Okay. Do you know if Ronny Walker helped you try and call your cousin?
No, sir.
All right. Was Erica Sweet's phone in the car? Do you remember?
I don't know about that.
As far as this neighborhood, where you all live, it's what called Belmont Heights, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do a lot of people know each other?
Yes, sir.
All the people around the neighborhood kind of know each other, know other people who know other people kind of thing? It's a small kind of community?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So does it seem strange to you that you loaned a phone to a friend who actually knew Nilexia
Yes,
if she
sir.
lived in the neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
That seems strange to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It seems strange to you that she may know that your cousin, that friend of yours' daughter may know Nilexia if they live in the same neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you know Nilexia?
No, sir.
Did you ever call Nilexia?
No, sir.
No further questions, Judge.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take about a 5 or 10 minute break for the court, and we'll see you when we get back.
All rise for the jury.
Jury's left, you all may be seated. The court will be in recess for 10 minutes. Jury's back, all may be seated. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, no issues with the court's instructions. When we pops up on your feeds, you can talk to anybody, nobody contact.
Yes, sir.
Very good, thank you. Let me call your next witness.
Judge, we're going to recall Robert Creed.
All right.
Mr. Creed, how you doing?
Doing all right, sir.
All right, so Mr. Creed, one of the things that kind of came up when we were talking a little while ago is, back in that time period, right around when Nilexia was killed, did you have a place that you lived permanently?
No, sir.
Did you have your own apartment?
No, sir.
Were you just kind of living wherever you could during that time period?
Yes, sir.
Would you sometimes stay at Ronny Walker's place?
Yes, sir.
Sustained.
Where would you stay?
At Ronny Walker's girlfriend house.
Okay. And was it uncommon, or was it common for you to stay there from time to time during that time period?
Yes, sir.
All right, back specifically, I'm going to show you a record that's already been introduced into evidence of State's Exhibit 30A. Do you remember your phone number back then?
I just remember like a 525.
Does that look right? 525-7245?
Yes, sir.
All right, and during the time period of April 29th to May 1st, which was about the weekend before this happened, where were you staying at that time period?
At Ronny Walker's girlfriend house.
All right. So during this time period, the only time periods where Nilexia's phone number comes up on your phone, during that time period you were staying at Erica Sweet's place?
Yes, sir.
All right. No further questions, Judge.
Cross-examination.
And just a brief look. All right, sorry about that, Mr. Creed. Is it your testimony now today that you recall the specific dates or the specific weekend of April 30th going into the early part of May? You remember specifically staying at Mr. Walker's residence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you remember when the police first interviewed you and they were asking you about the places where you stay? You remember
Yes,
that?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And you told them that you stay with your brother, Arthur, or with your girlfriend in St. Pete, correct?
Correct.
Never once did you ever say that you stay with Ronny Walker. Is that also correct?
Correct.
Okay. And in fact, the only time you've ever said that you stay with Ronny Walker was today talking with Mr. Terry, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And during that deposition that you gave just a couple of weeks ago, page 18, lines 9 through 17, I asked you, how about when you got a little bit older? Did you maintain friendships with him then, him being Ronny Walker? Responded, yeah, we cool. Question, when you say you're cool, tell me a little bit, like, what was your relationship like? Answer, like, I just gone from the hood. Question, all right, I mean, is this like a best friend? Are you guys together all the time? Answer, No, not really. Question. No, just sort of here and there. Answer. Yeah. Those were the answers you gave at that time, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing else. Thank you.
Can you reiterate? No. Can the attorney approach real quick? On the bail?